Welcome back to Main Street. This is your host, Ryan Mack, with host Robin Barnes. Mario Bueno is out today. Shout out to Mario Bueno down there in D.C. meeting with Eric Holder, doing a thing in the street. He'll be back next week. We also have a special co-host today, Charmaine Bond, who will be talking about her business as well as sitting with us throughout the show today, just discussing exactly what her business does and other various topics that matter to you economically. Open up to the host today. Today is sponsored by Fifth Third Bank. We're talking about politics a little bit today. Today is elections day, and this show's an economic show, but we have to get a lot of folks across this country are going out to vote. But we also had a shooting earlier this week, another shooting today, Devin Kelley. Now, Devin Kelley out there murdered 26 individuals, at least 24 injured in a church down in Texas. And again, we can't talk about politics, and we like to also discuss economics as it relates to politics. And when you're looking at the fact that NRA contributed over the career of these politicians $7.7 million to John McCain out of Arizona, $6.9 million to Richard Burr out of North Carolina, $4.5 million to Senator Roy Blunt out of Missouri, over $1 million to Congressman French Hill out of Arkansas. I mean, the gun industry is a $13.5 billion industry. Collectively, between all ammunitions and the economic impact between gun manufacturing and it has about a $42.9 billion impact on this economy. So we can't, the fact that nothing can be done, and we've talked about this once before, but I just wanted to just bring it up again because today is election day, but we can't not talk about economics. It seems as if, Robert, how do you feel when we always want to focus on the politician but never want to focus on creating the economic base that moves and drives a political agenda?
It's quite weird to me, to say, for lack of words. I mean, I don't understand how we as, I think we can pretty much all agree that the issue that we're having with gun control and these issues that's going on with mental, issues, not just with the mental unstable. We have issues going on with, just terrorist things of that nature. We need to come together. I think when the last time we talked about this, we was like, as a bipartisanship, we were talking about, okay, we do understand people want to have their guns, we have ours.
Right.
However, when you start talking submachine guns, things, do you really, who needs that to hunt or do anything with? And it's just, we need to, I don't understand, and I think you and I both were talking again, that we don't understand how we can, there's a shooting, everybody's aroused, everybody's upset, everybody, let's say something, let's do something, let's change something, and then 2 or 3 weeks later it just dies and it never surfaces again. So we have these monies to actually push these different agendas. You have some of these lobbyists and things of that nature. What are they doing? Where's that money going? Is it pushing toward that?
And Charmaine, I know that there is a component. You're a registered nurse,
right?
And so you're in the medical field,
right?
And how does it impact you, especially a lot of these individuals walking around with a lot of mental illness, and a lot of the medical things reasons that individuals might go off the deep end? How do you feel when you hear these stories going around with a lot of mental illness? Are people going around untreated?
Right, that's very true. There's so many people walking around undiagnosed, untreated, and it puts everyone at risk. So something needs to be done. They're getting rid of all these different programs to help provide services for these people who are mentally ill. So many facilities have been closed down. So it's really just putting the whole public in general at a disservice. So
again, I told the story last week about my own family. I had a family member who I knew just by talking to him that he needed treatment. And come to find out, about a year or two later, he ends up with a gun in his hand at the wrong time, and he shot the individual 8 times. He's in a medical facility right now. He was diagnosed clinically insane and didn't even have to go to prison. He's still up in a medical facility right now. So, I mean, I'm personally impacted by this, and I'm also personally impacted by gun violence. At one point, I tell the story a lot, how individuals, I had 5 individuals, good friends of mine, and within a 10-year span, killed by gun violence here in the city of Detroit. Got a god brother and a god sister of mine, 2 fraternity brothers, and a very dear friend of mine. So these are the things that impact me when we talk about economics, and the reason that we do the work that I believe all of us do is because if you're helping individuals become a registered nurse and you give them a way out economically. If you help them get into the real estate, you give them a way out economically. So, I mean, so Robert, it just really goes to the heart of it. So what do you think are just some possible solutions that you see coming from all this chaos coming out in the news lately?
I mean, it just shows where we really need to push. We need to get into the communities. One thing is with mental illness, we definitely, in the African American community, we really don't want to talk about mental illness. It's like it's a disgrace. We need to bring that out. We need to go into these neighborhoods and talk about this, because a lot of these things that people are doing is not really indicative of African Americans and how they live, what they believe, and what they do. And it's like, where are these thoughts coming from? Where is these conceptions coming from? We need to deal with that. It's like we don't want to talk about it. One of the things I liked about what you came out and just said just now, I have a relative. You don't have a problem with it, but there's so many people who don't want to even talk about it, and they know, just like you. When you talked to your family member, you knew that something wasn't right.
Like, this brother's crazy.
You're right. You knew, and you can't tell me other people with their family members don't know that
Don't
something.
say that.
But they won't say anything. They won't say anything. And then the kid, sometimes it's young, it's juvenile. When we was talking to Dr. Laws last week, sometimes it's juvenile. They go into schools and shoot up. It's all it's all type of thing. Or you got an upset husband who's mad at a teacher. And whose wife is a teacher, so he goes in there and shoots the wife and shoot everybody. He just sprays everybody. I mean, these are the type of things that even with regulation, we really don't have a grip on, because it's not so much the gun itself and the person, it's the issue of the mentality that I think we won't address in our community. And that needs to be addressed. We need monies for that.
So,
Right, that's the
Yeah, talk about the obstacles that you had to go through to become a registered nurse and get into the medical field, because I think that's I think it's an overlooked, very viable field to get into. We're going to talk in another segment about the other things you're doing with your business, but what are some of the obstacles that individuals out there, if you see a young woman who wants to become a registered nurse, what are some of the things that they should start looking to do?
Well, one of the things is, if you can apply for an aid, a scholarship, or a grant, that's fine. But a lot of people are paying for college themselves. So if you don't have that funding or any programs, any money, then that right there is an obstacle. You can't even help to get on the other side and actually work in the medical field, because you can't even go through school because you don't have the funding. So we have issues right there.
Again, so when you're looking at the fact that $7.7 million was paid to a politician, it's obvious that economics is driving the political discussion.
Well, look at the super PACs.
Yeah, so we need to have these conversations of how we can become economically empowered to create more of if you give me an economic agenda, I'll give you a political agenda. And so another story today, we had Netflix came out with essentially a scam where they were using a Netflix scam where individuals got an email, and because they got this email, the individuals, they said, you know what, your account's been hacked or something. It wasn't from Netflix, and essentially this was a scam to get individuals to log into this site and start to phish their personal data. And we see a lot of these things happen all the time. So individuals, they see that their account got hacked, and I've had family members, and we see emails going across, people from Nigeria that got some prince trying to get some guy who's saying he got to save me because I'm overseas. I mean, all these things are happening, and it seems as if as technology becomes more and more infused in our daily lives, individuals are finding it easier in order to get access to our own personal information. Charmaine, you've had that happen to you recently before too.
Right. I mean, you got to be careful with the internet, with emails. You, like you said, you click on a link, and the next thing a virus spreads, and all of your data is linked. I also not got involved, but could have potentially been the victim of an email sent. Someone was requesting to get massage for a team of people who were going to be coming to my area to do some construction work. And so everything was crafted, and they were like they wanted to Western Union the money, and just all of, long story short, all of a big scam. And then I just happened to something told me I just happened to plug it into the internet, and then it pops up. So it's like a scam that's going on. That's what they're doing to massage places, because what they're trying to do is get money to be wired. So, yeah.
Well, you know, in real estate, that is one of the leading things that is going on in real estate is all these scams. You know, I can do this.
Western Union
Western
scams.
Union
Yep,
needs some money,
that's
and
exactly.
I can send you a list of houses. I'm
Exactly.
Like, why do I need the Western? I'm right here. We in the same city. I mean, we have with the internet, and I tell everybody. I mean, the internet is a wonderful thing because it's just giving you so much information at one time, and it's just global and it's massive and it's awesome. I love it. However, nowadays you just really have to use, you know, some common sense about some things. Instead of, like, one of the things I always tell my clients is if you're going to use the internet for, you know, any type of purchasing or something, and I love online purchasing because they give you more stuff and then they give you discounts, and I like discounts, that maybe buy more. But the thing of it is that get a different card. Get one of these little, it's one card called Soul Card. It's a card where you can put money onto it, and it's separate from your main banking account. You know, I have a Chase account. You know, that account I don't use that for anything on here because that's where my business money.
Traditional card, though, right?
Well, what the card I have? I'm gonna tell you, I don't worry about the fees. If I'm gonna get what I want, I'm good with it. But I'm just saying, I'd rather use that card where I can manipulate how much I put on there than for you to have my whole major bank account.
Right.
And then if you want to steal something or try to hack me, you got
You're
my
protected.
major numbers. I'm
Right.
protected because you only got that card. I can destroy that and be good.
So I want to close out this segment. I want to give some financial tips to the community out there to make sure that if you are ever potentially a victim of identity theft or anything, here's some tips to make sure that your information is protected. 1, only allow remote access if you trust them and know them. 2, create passwords that are long, upper, lowercase letters. 8 digits are fine. 10 digits are even better. Use antivirus software and keep that antivirus software up to date. Make sure that you get your firewall is switched on. Make sure you install the latest version of your web browser with up-to-date security features. Make sure that if you're going to use an online company, that it's a genuine online company, and no online company will contact you and ask you for your information. They're not going to call you and say, hey, can I get your login information because we're trying to log you into any various accounts. Never trust that if it happens. If for various scam emails, don't click on any links if you don't recognize the email. If you've already clicked on any link, don't provide any personal information or any personal data. Never, never, never send money via Western Union if you don't know the person that you're sending the money to. And then if it looks too good to be sure, if it sounds too good, it probably is too good to be true. So all these things and a whole lot more, we got to make sure that we're protecting our data. That's the financial literacy tip of the day, again, sponsored by Fifth Third Bank. And coming up to you on the next segment, we had a great brother, Kyle Turner, who's the executive director of the Coleman A. Young Foundation. He's doing a lot of great, phenomenal things with kids on the other side of the break. Welcome back to Main Street, sponsored by Fifth Third Bank. This is Ryan Mack, your host. With a co-host, not Mario Brano, he's out for the day, but we got Charmaine Bond and Robin Barnes co-hosting for the day. And here we are talking with a good brother, special brother, Kari Turner.
What's happening, man?
Man, thanks for coming out here today. Man, I'm going to tell you right now, you guys are, a big part of the show is about education, okay? Right. Getting jobs and creating jobs and managing money from the jobs. So when we talk about getting jobs, you can't get a job unless you're properly educated.
Right.
You're getting it. You all are doing some of the best work in the entire city in terms of making sure our youth are getting proper education. Talk a little bit about what the Coleman A. Young Foundation is doing to make sure that our youth are getting the best education and really on the right path education-wise.
Thank you, man. We're really making sure that the mayor's lasting legacy stays alive, man.
It's more than a T-shirt.
More than a T-shirt.
Yeah.
You know, Mayor Coleman Young, 35 years ago, he took his remaining wealth, man, about $3 million, and he endowed Coleman A. Young Foundation and Wayne State University. And 35 years later, man, we're still doing the work. So we identify youth in the city of Detroit from Detroit schools, Detroit neighborhoods. We look for those students who are marginalized, and we support them in 2 ways. We help get them ready for life after high school, whether it be college or some form of post-secondary education or activity, and then we award them scholarships and mentor them at the collegiate level until they graduate from college. So as a result of that work, we've got a 91% graduation rate, and about 60% of our young people come back to Detroit after they graduate college, and they're doing some fantastic things while they're on campus, and then they're bringing new skill sets, new talents back to the city of Detroit, which is critical, because we know that college-educated young people tend to make, coming out of college, about $10,000 to $20,000 more per year than individuals who don't have college degrees just by way of what they're qualified to do, and then they come back ready to take an active role in the Detroit that's taking shape today. So I'm really proud to be doing this work.
So talk a little bit about how do you get your, so you get, it seems to me like it's a very, it's really a village concept that you all have created here, right? So not only do you help individuals get access to education, but then you provide them with mentors.
Yeah.
How does someone become a mentor with the Coleman A. Young Foundation? How do you find your pool of people that you work with?
Well, call us.
Right.
First of all, 313-962-2200. We gather our young people together several times a year, and we always create opportunities for our mentors to come in and communicate with them, share information. All three of you would be extremely valuable in front of our young people. Because
Sign me up.
Right on, man. We appreciate
Me too.
it. They ask pointed questions. You know, this is, you know, our system is really systematic elbow grease and love that we apply to their lives. But every one of our mentors is always shocked by the level of curiosity, the detail that comes from the questions that they ask of you. They really want to glean from your expertise, and they're ready to apply it. And just an example, we've got one young lady, she's a senior now at Michigan State, but she just spent the summer working with Lester Holt's team. She interned at NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt, worked on his fact-checking team for the entire summer.
Oh, wow.
Another young man just came back from Nike, another young man from HOK Architecture in St. Louis. They're taking their time on campus seriously. These are the Detroit youth that we don't hear about in the news. They never make the headlines because their stories are the best stories that you could hope for from young people in the city, and they're coming back to the city banging, man. I mean, really, I wish I did college the way they did.
Wow.
Right.
You know, because they've got their eyes on the prize and they get it.
Robin, where would you be without mentors that have influenced your life? And how important is the work that the Coleman A. Young Foundation in providing mentors like you've received, like I've received, that Charmaine, you've received? We've all received some guidance in our lives. Coleman A. Young Foundation is providing that guidance. Where would you be without your mentorship?
Oh, shoot, probably. I don't know. Probably, I can't even think about where I would be, because you need mentorship throughout your entire life. I have mentors right now that I'm looking up to, that I talk to, that I deal with. It never stops. I mean, I tell people education is a continuum. It's never it don't stop at 12th grade. It don't stop after you get your bachelor's. It really don't stop after master's and summertime PhD. You still have to continue, even once you get in your field. You know, as a real estate broker, we are continually, you have what's called continuing ed. That's because you're going to always have to learn something new. It is in IT, they have continuums. I mean, in every major field, there's continuums. So you're going to need a mentor, you know, or somebody to look up to take you to that next level. So you're always learning from everybody. You're going to learn anything from everybody. And I think, you know, I thank God that I had a great parent base. So I did have that foundation. But if I didn't have that foundation, what you're doing as, you know, with you guys as crew team, that's amazing, because you're giving hope to kids who normally would have it.
You know what I like about Coleman A. Young Foundation is the fact that it's one stat that you gave me, especially when it comes to transparency and accountability of funds. 87% of every single dollar is going directly to these youth.
That's right.
In terms
That's
of
right.
programs. Talk a little bit about that in terms of how you're able to keep that level so high, because as far as I'm concerned, you should be rated on Charity Navigator. Are you all rated on the Charity Navigator?
No,
you
we should be.
You
We
should.
should
So
be.
talk a little bit about how you're getting such a high level of accountability and transparency of your funds, and making sure that the kids and the youth are getting the full grunt and support of every dollar donated.
We operate lean. We just moved our office from the Palms building. Shout out to the Palms building. They were a great place for us to do business for a good 13 years. But we moved to the new center just because the cost of doing business in downtown Detroit is what it is. It's a lot more expensive. And we're now in an office on 2nd and Pallister. And it's a developing neighborhood, so it's exciting to see what's going on. You know, we walk to the corner and we see the Q Line headquarters Woodward, and you know, there's new housing development going on all around us, and we're in a nice tight knit community. All of us are in one building. Us, Buff of Michigan, Anthony Adams,
Or Brother
Michael's
Donaldson.
there. Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. Ken's there, and we all are thinking on the same plane. We got lean, we got mean, and that's how we operate. I have a small staff. There's opportunity.
How
for
many
growth and-
how many is on your staff?
4.
Okay.
4. 2 full-time, 2 contractors. And,
Okay.
And that was my charge when I joined Coleman and Young Foundation in 2012 as executive director, was to let's make this thing more efficient. That was the goal. So we did that, and we wanted to make sure that because of the high success rate, we recognize that we're battling also high recidivism throughout the city. You know, we got that, you know, the success to college life is not just financial support, because now most of our kids are first timers. They're the history makers in their family. So we need somebody that'll walk with them and be the Warren Buffett to their Phil Towns, or the Russell Simmons to their Diddy, and make sure that they know how to navigate this new terrain. And in order to do that, we needed to get small. So we shaved our office space in half. We moved up the street north where the cost per square foot is cheaper, and we're able to make sure that most of that money goes towards service delivery.
And Charmaine, where would you be without mentorship that has helped your life along?
You know, as an entrepreneur, as a nurse, I always tell people you have to have a mentor. I don't know where I would be, because, of course, I wouldn't have had this information on my own just from researching. I was able to have people basically hold my hand, just, you need to do this, you need to do X, Y, and Z, you know, so
Yeah,
it's very important.
it's key.
So for you to become a nurse, now, did you use any particular programs, maybe like the foundation or maybe some other foundation programs that helped you in becoming a nurse that brought awareness to you?
Family, yeah,
family,
yeah,
okay.
yep. Family
All right.
who are nurses in the family.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I gotta say, I'm so proud of the family environment that the Coleman and Young Foundation is providing to these kids.
Right.
Because, I mean, what you're doing is, I mean, I want folks really to just understand something. We've got soldiers in the community who are actually creating a better tomorrow for where Detroit's going to go.
Right on.
You are one of those soldiers.
Thank you, man.
Doing what is needed to be done, creating those individuals who are going to come back and take care of you and me when we get older,
Yeah.
and making sure that this city's on the right path. So I want folks out there to really just understand that you're on a capital campaign right now.
Yeah, our end of year campaign, you know, and we encourage folks to support it. Our goal is modest. It's just a $20,000 goal. And we made it fun. You know, we want to be able to say thanks for the gifts that we receive. So we're offering some cool things. You know, anyone who wants to donate $1,000, you know, the first one to do it gets an opportunity to sit down and have lunch with Stephen Henderson.
Okay.
You know, great team build for your organization, or just a one-on-one if you want to do it that way. We have an amazing board, and representatives on our board from all 3 of the city's casinos have offered a variety of spa, dinner, hotel packages.
Oh,
So
wow.
we're offering those as thank you gifts. One of our, Tiffany Curry, who is a great niece to Mayor Young, has a T-shirt line, an apparel company, 1918 Apparel. So we're offering a commemorative Coleman and Young Foundation T-shirt with the coolest quote from Mayor Young. My favorite quote: "Courage is one step ahead of fear," on the front of that T-shirt. So if you wanna donate just $30 to us, you know, we'll send you that T-shirt. You know, and you can rock that slogan. personally.
So for $30, they get a great T-shirt. Courage is one step ahead of fear. And so for the spa, how much do we donate?
$500, you'll get either a spa and hotel package, or a dinner and hotel package. $1,000 for the sit down with Stephen Henderson, who's also a trustee actually.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Stephen is a very supportive board member. So you can mix and match, or if you just want to give $10, $20 out of the kindness of your heart, just go on our website, which is CAYF.org. It's the initials of the organization, Coleman A. Young Foundation, and there's a banner for the end of year campaign on every page of the site. You can just click and have fun with it.
See, this is what and it frustrates me sometimes when I see the lack of enthusiasm around first of all, I'm going to donate.
Thank you,
Okay,
brother. Thank you.
I'm going to contribute, and I think that this cause is one of the most worthy causes that we can have because we can't help our children in our community. What can we do?
Exactly.
So I just want the folks out there to listen one time because I want you to give all your information out one more time because the work you're doing is you're providing educational roadmap. Don't talk to me about voting if you can't support our kids who are going to be the next politicians of this community. Don't talk about supporting businesses if you can't support our children who are going to be the next entrepreneurs and business owners of this community.
Right.
Don't talk to me about the city of Detroit when it's the kids of the city of Detroit who are going to be building this entire city block by block at a time. And it's organizations like yours that are helping to contribute to building this entire city on the backs of those youth that are going to be coming and creating a better day for tomorrow. So one more time, and I just had to say that because it's somebody out there who has to write this stuff down.
Yeah.
They got a pen, they got a pencil, they have a computer, they want to write it down. They're on your website. So there's somebody listening right now. Talk one more time with all your information because I want them to make sure they're giving some funds to the Coleman A. Young
All
Foundation.
right. Well, thank you, brother. Thank you. If you're using a computer or a smartphone, just go to CAYF.org, www. That's our website. It stands for Coleman A. Young Foundation. If you still are old school and you want to use the phone, it's 313-962-2200. 313-962-2200. You can ask for me. We're a small team, so I might as well be the one to pick up the phone.
Okay? And so you're a 501c3, so this is tax deductible.
This is tax deductible.
And we're
Yes,
talking about
yes.
economics toward the end of the year. A lot of these folks are looking to reduce, small business owners might be looking to reduce their total revenue.
Right.
Exactly.
You know, there's a lot of ways of getting taxed. So
Yeah.
donating to organizations like this is a great way in order to make
Write it
sure you
off.
get your good write-off, make sure your revenue's down, and make sure you keep more money in your pocket.
That's right.
So again, this is a great way to go about doing it. So I feel the urge to have you get that information just one more time for the people.
962-2200.
And the
Or
website.
CAYF is in Frank.org.
Okay. Well, thank you much, Brother Turner.
Thank you. Thank
We
you.
appreciate you.
Thank
And
you.
again, we hope that you were going to be given to CAYF.org, the Coleman A. Young Foundation. I got to tell you, they're doing some of the greatest work in the entire city and making sure that we can help our youth to be empowered. So again, coming up next, if you don't think that that the climate change has an economic impact, just think about this fact, that by the year of 2050, some experts are saying that some of the suitable land for growing coffee beans could be decreased by 20%. That means an increase in coffee. That means over a $200 billion projected price tag is going to be caused by these hurricanes that are happening down south between Puerto Rico and Texas and Louisiana and all those things that are happening as a result of climate change. So if you don't think it happens, that's going to impact your pocket, then I got to tell you to think again. Because coming up next, we got Kimberly Hill Knott is going to be talking about the impacts of climate change and her new famous and effective collaborative that she's doing all across the world, talking about climate change. Coming up next on Main Street, sponsored by Fifth Third Bank. Welcome back to Main Street, the show that's helping individuals get jobs, create jobs, manage money from the jobs. We are sponsored by Fifth Third Bank. We are out here with some very good topics and talking with the co-hosts today, Charmaine Bond and Robin Barnes, are talking with us. We had a special topic, and a good friend of mine, Kimberly Hill Knott, who is in the community talking about climate change. Again, a lot of folks don't relate climate change to an economic discussion. It absolutely does, but you have invested your life to environmental justice. And you're all around this country, in the world, as much as when you went to Morocco, you talked about.
Yes.
And really talking about environmental justice. Last week, you were at the Women's Convention on a panel there. Kudos to you for, again, putting a needle to the grind and getting information about environmental justice. Talk a little bit about what you have going on. Why this whole thing about climate change? Why is it so special to you, Sister Kim?
Well, thank you so much for having me, Ryan. Climate change is a very interesting issue, particularly in low-income and communities of color, which are considered vulnerable communities. And the reason that it's such an important issue to our communities is because we are oftentimes the ones least able to adapt. And to respond to extreme weather events, meaning precipitation as well as extreme heat. So what our research is showing is that not only is the rain is it raining more frequently, but it's actually becoming more intense. And so with our aging infrastructure and the city of Detroit having a combined sewer system, this presents a major issue. We have cities, or actually neighborhoods, where the sewerage is actually backing up into the basements, which causes all sorts of health issues. So you're looking at hepatitis, you're looking at asthma and other respiratory
And we
illnesses.
saw this in Detroit, but you saying we saw this across the country as well. Individuals having
Yes.
flooding problems in their yeah.
That's right. So we've seen it certainly in Houston, Texas. We all know what's going on in Puerto Rico right now. And my understanding is they still do not have electricity. And so, again, this when we talk about the economic issues, there are both challenges and opportunities. And I heard a pastor say, whenever there are great challenges, there are also great opportunities. And so this is a multi-billion-dollar industry. And when you look at the number of African Americans who are involved in it, the numbers are very dismal. And so there are workforce development opportunities. There are opportunities to really adapt, particularly urban centers like the city of Detroit. And there are other, also, other investment opportunities and other opportunities that may or less indirectly
That's a
impact
good
people.
point, because I remember we do a lot of work with gang members, and there was one, and especially in Brooklyn, one gang member. We got a weatherization light. We were learning about weatherization, and basically a $50 or so trip to Home Depot. He started a weatherization company
Yeah.
by helping individuals just caulk the inside of their houses and making sure that we can weatherize homes. And he started doing it. He actually got himself a staff, so he started making some good money just by weatherizing homes. But who would have thought about that? And again, it's such a great point that we have to start learning about how we can get access to these other opportunities, economic opportunities, as they present themselves. Is that a part of your scope as well? Did you really discuss
so
that?
we actually talk about energy poverty. So energy poverty is where you are spending the majority of your income on your utility bills. And so what I call it is you're paying 2 mortgages for one house. So the energy bill, my husband and I, for 1 month, our utility bill was over $800.
Wow.
So this is in addition to our mortgage and other expenses. And so how do we begin to work with communities that have this energy burden? And one of the ways that we do that is through job training programs. So the Detroit Climate Action Collaborative, which I am the project director of, and which led the development of the City of Detroit's first climate action plan, is an initiative of Detroiters working for environmental justice. And what we did is through our Homes and Neighborhoods work group, we actually designed 6 work groups in an effort to get these different sectors to address climate change. Through development of goals as well as short-term and long-term action steps. But through our Homes and Neighborhoods work group, we designed a workforce development program called the Detroit Smart Neighborhood Project. We partnered with the Detroit Housing Commission, and we trained public housing residents on weatherization and other areas within energy efficiency. And so the whole idea of that training and this issue of climate change and renewable energy being really an emerging sector, creating an emerging sector economy, is because that it provides a pathway out of poverty. And so we just believe that not only does it make sense as a result of economic opportunities, but really health opportunities too.
And Robin, I gotta ask you this question, because as a real estate agent, how impactful is it to know that you can sell a home that has gone through the process of being weatherized, and they can actually say, isn't that a huge marketing or selling point to know that their energy bills are going to be a lot lower because this home has been properly weatherized?
Well, it is, and I do look forward to, Latitude actually is really going to look forward to working with Kimberly in some of these initiatives with housing, because what we do as real estate agents, I mean, of course, anything that's, that has been totally weatherized and insulated, things of that nature, of course, you definitely want to have that done. That's a wonderful thing. But also what we like to do, what we do in Latitude, we actually educate as we sell. So what we do is when we get buyers, everybody likes the historical homes, the historical home districts. However, what people don't understand is those homes are huge.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot.
Heat that bad boy
There
up.
you go. To heat it. And, so when she was talking about home poverty or climate change poverty, that's what that is when you want something and you get it, and then you find out that you have an $800 home, $800 DTE bill. And that has to be paid. When you have the water bill that you can't get any less than 150, right, in certain neighborhoods, or they're cutting your water off. Those issues are huge to, you having some type of life living in that neighborhood. Yeah, you got the home, but if you can't keep the lights on, the gas on, and the heat going, and the water, then you're back right into poverty. So what we do is we try to teach buyers up front. When we're looking at these different statistics, we look like different things with their income, where they at, if they're struggling, we always, at least what I do, and I know my company, what we do, and you do too, is what we do is we make sure we get a DTE bill. This is what you're going to be paying. Are you sure you want to be in this home? We try to get that from the seller. So that's part of the education that we also teach to buyers.
Kim, you just came out with a movie on this stuff here.
Yes.
I mean, this is. I mean, again, you are making a movement of your mission, right?
Yes.
And to me, it just flabbergasts me on how someone could actually take this movement that you have created here and then put it on the big screen, in which you actually previewed at the Charles H. Wright Museum. Talk a little bit about what was the movie name, the title, and how can we all see this movie?
Well, that's a good question, and thank you. One of the things that we tried to do with the Detroit Climate Action Collaborative is really fulfill the word collaborative. So we wanted to make sure that we are touching all different sectors, or as many sectors as possible, by telling the story, by developing goals, by implementing the goals and action steps. And one of the areas that I really wanted to focus on was telling the urban perspective of climate change. And the reason that I wanted to do that is because when you look at documentaries that already exist, so many of them focus on polar bears and the melting ice caps and those sorts of issues, and those are very
because that's
important.
what I would assume it would have been about that. But you're saying it's something, it's a
No,
whole
totally
new
different.
Totally different.
area,
Yes.
which is great.
Yes, and so we wanted to actually tell the story of urban communities or people within those communities who are experiencing climate change. And so the name of our film is From the Bottom Up, Detroit Climate Action. And so, Climate Action in Detroit. So From the Bottom Up, Climate Action in Detroit. And what it does is it talks about the impact of climate change. You will see people who have experienced extreme flooding, heavy precipitation. Some of the folks in the film have actually are at risk of losing their house insurance, their home insurance. And you will, hear about extreme precipitation, but you will also hear about the opportunities exist. So you'll see the renewable energy that is actually taking place in the city of Detroit. You will hear from a business representative who is actually talking about the importance of composting and the importance of how restaurants deal with waste. And when we deal with waste, we're actually reducing the amount that is sent to the incinerator, which is one of the most polluting facilities in the city of Detroit. Many of the people who live by the incinerator have been sick, have suffered from asthma and other respiratory illnesses. They have been fined by the Michigan Department of Environmental Quality because of their odor violations. And so reducing the waste that we're actually sending to landfills and to the incinerator just has multiple benefits. And it was wonderful to actually hear a business owner talk about that. In addition, we talk about the Great Lakes. So we are actually at one of the parks, and we talk about the importance of really, you can see the importance of cleaning the water and keeping our lakes clean. But also, when you deal with climate change, you're looking at two impacts that climate change can have on lake levels. They can either recede or they can flood. And so the lake levels can either rise or they can recede. And so both of those will have major impacts on people, because if the lake levels recede, then businesses will have to pay what's called a dredging cost. If there is a dredging cost, that is usually very, very expensive. And so what they'll do is they will pass those costs on to the consumers.
Exactly.
Right.
And so, and the Journal of Insurance Regulation, to your point about insurance, almost 3 million homes lost home ownership coverage between 2003 and 2007, and only half were able to even get new coverage. So this is an economic issue. I mean, thank you for sharing the dredging costs. And Charmaine, she talked about the medical impacts that we have. So from what you've seen with it as a registered nurse, how does it make you feel knowing that we got somebody like Sister Kim on the case to make sure that less people come to you in terms of having medical issues?
Well, actually, that's the trend of healthcare now. Medicaid is not paying physicians. They're actually withholding funding if they're not keeping the patients well. So if you're on the same blood pressure medications or if you're on the same cholesterol medications and if you're not trending upward, then those physicians aren't getting paid. So ever since Obama's been in the office, and continuous push to keep patients well.
And so one of the issues or one of the work groups that we developed is actually a public health work group.
Awesome.
And so we have a series of, I shouldn't say a series, but several recommendations for the medical community to address climate change.
Now, also, let me ask you this, because my hometown is Flint, and the issues we have been having going on in Flint is ongoing, slow, drug out process. A lot of the issues, what happened with Flint, with me growing up in Flint, a lot of the things that happened was that where they started taking the water from, which is the Flint River, we've always known that river to be gross.
Nasty.
It was nasty this is from when I was a little one, okay? So whatever made those individuals decide to pull water from out of there to put into the plumbing system and, give to people to drink was ridiculous in the first place. But how are we going to combat it? Is this going to get cleaned up, or is this just going to forever just be, what is this?
The issue with Flint, I've actually, because my work is in Detroit,
Right.
in terms of climate change, is an issue that I'm not as familiar with, but we know that it's an issue of infrastructure.
Right.
And so
Right.
when we talk about climate change, when we talk about increased precipitation, extreme heat, and you talk about the aging grid,
Yes.
which is why we have blackouts, and we're not moving towards microgrids and other innovative
Right.
energy sources, that's a problem. And so until we get the president to actually pass an infrastructure bill that can help repair some of these lead pipes and other infrastructure repairs that are desperately needed throughout the country, we will continue to have this problem. The city of Detroit has a combined sewer system. So when it rains, the sewer system overflows.
Right.
And as a result of that, there have been times when millions, if not billions, of untreated or partially treated sewage has actually leaked into the Detroit River, which is one of the reasons that our organization, Detroiters Working for Environmental Justice, hired river walkers to tell people not to fish in the Detroit River because the fish was actually so contaminated. And so there are many, many reasons that we have got to really, really put pressure on this administration to pass a very strong infrastructure bill. Also, one of the things I wanted to do is quote actually Reverend Yearwood, who is with the Hip Hop Caucus,
Right.
and
I
who
know
is
him, yeah.
known for environmental work and environmental justice work. And one of the things he said at a gala not too long ago in Detroit is that demonstration without legislation only leads to frustration. Again, demonstration without legislation only deals with only leads to frustration. And
That
so
is
when
true.
you're dealing with climate change or any other issue, you have got to be able to hit it on many different fronts. So you have to have the goals, you have to have the action steps, you have to have, a film is nice, but also
I love the
policy.
film. I love
Yeah.
the film.
But you
Policy
need money.
is-
You need money.
You do
Yeah.
need money.
You need
And
money. Who's funding you
yeah,
guys?
well, that's a good question. So, my tagline is "From the bottom up by force" because Detroit matters.
Yeah.
That's a Kim Hill line.
Yeah, so how do
I
people
love it.
how do people support the movement? How do we move it?
So one of the ways that you can support it is through our program called the Detroit Climate Ambassador Program. And so the Detroit Climate Ambassadors are Detroit residents who are dedicated to focusing on climate change, dealing with climate change in their respective communities. And we meet the third Saturday of every month. And so what you can do is send me an email at Kimberly, that's Kimberly, Knott, Knott, @gmail.com.
And one more time, because somebody out there had a pen and they were struggling for it, and they somehow couldn't grab it fast enough.
Okay.
So now you got your pen. Now you got it. Okay. Now you got to go ahead.
Okay. My email address is Kimberly, Knott, Knott, @gmail.com. And if you email me there, I can send you more information about what we're doing around climate change, and particularly the Detroit Climate Ambassador Program, which again Michigan meets the third Saturday of every month from 10 o'clock to noon at a different location throughout the community. And one other thing I wanted to add was that we also partnered with the University of Michigan Herb Institute to develop a sustainability toolkit for small and medium-sized businesses. And so our event at Tech Town just sold out, which will be held on Monday. And so we're rolling out the toolkit to many, many small and medium-sized businesses. And the purpose of the sustainability toolkit is to get as many businesses in the city of Detroit as possible to develop a strong sustainability plan. So we're teaching them how to do it.
All right.
Well,
I'm gonna
Sister
be there
Kim,
Monday.
can we even go? I don't think we can go. We're sold out.
We
Can
know
we
Kim.
be, can we be a fly on the
We
wall?
know Kim. What you talking
My
about?
goodness, sold out.
so-
We rolling in with Kim.
Right.
Because
VIP. VIP.
all day.
You guys are
Well,
funny.
Sister Kim, I want to say I appreciate you for coming out. You've made a movement of your mission, and I am so proud of all the things you're doing, from the movie to the selling out Tech Town events to doing all this. I hope people get in contact with you. We'll be putting information up consistently. And then thank you for all the work you're doing for Main Street.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
And then coming up, we're going to talk to our own co-host here, Charmaine Bond, about her own business. She has a movement going on as well. Again, she has a massage therapy, and you don't want to miss this because it is a movement. It's going to make you feel good, less tense, but it's also good for the health as well. Coming up next on Main Street. Welcome back to Main Street, sponsored by Fifth Third Bank, the show that is helping individuals get jobs, create jobs, and manage money from the job. Now, we have a special guest who's been our co-host for the entire day today, Charmaine Bond, who is over Gold Standard Massage Clinic. And you're doing some phenomenal things on there. You also work at DMC, correct? Or
No,
Oh, not
no.
DMC. Which hospital?
I'm not affiliated with the hospital.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you're a registered nurse.
Right. Registered nurse, 15 years.
And so you're helping individuals to feel. So thank you for that, because we don't give enough appreciation. Again, I have a special family member right now who's being received proper care from, and nurses are angels. They are angels
you.
helping individuals to get all the proper care. But you've done something that's phenomenal. Not only are you a registered nurse, but now you started a massage clinic.
Right.
So talk about Gold Standard Massage Clinic. What exactly did you do to get this up and running?
Okay. So Gold Standard Massage, been in business 5 years. As I said, my background is a registered nurse, and I went into this because if you think about health, it's on a continuum, right? There's health, and then there's illness, right? So you need your health to be able to go to work, take care of your family, to do every function in life. So you have to start with your health. So it's so important to push prevention and push health promotion. So that's why I started Gold Standard Massage, because I also saw some alarming statistics. Well, this was after the fact, but this just even gives me more reason why it's so important to push the benefits of massage. Last year, there was a report that came out about the city of Detroit and how we're the most stressed out city in the nation, not just USA, just the whole.
And I got to tell you,
I mean, just not Michigan.
it's nothing better than being able, if you're going through so much stress, and getting a good massage to just get you. I mean, because I try to exercise and work out, but just to get the kinks out, to get the stress out. So that you're saying that's clinically helpful as well, just for your
Yes.
stress as well.
Yes, because our own bodies have natural pain receptors that are released during massage. Our bodies have endorphins that are released, so it does so many good things. It releases nerves that help you sleep better. It just does so many great things. So I'm really trying to push the message of promotion. Do these things before you get to the stage of where you're having stress, and that stress leads up to a heart attack. So
And so you work Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday, correct? So are those your hours currently?
actually,
or?
we're open 7 days a week. I got to get
7
that
days a
updated.
week?
7
Oh, wow.
days a week. Yes.
Okay.
Weekdays 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. and on the weekends 10 a.m. to 6 p.m.
And so someone out there I know is looking for a good massage therapist. They're looking for someone, and they just didn't know who to call. They didn't know who to call. They didn't know who to reach out to. And now they have a good minority-owned business that's right here on this. So who do they call, Sister Charmaine? Who do they call? What's the number
Gold
to call?
Standard Massage. You can Google us. Our number's 567-2755. Let me repeat that again.
Please
as you
do,
said.
please, yeah. Because somebody was shuffling for their pen, and I know that they're
And
stressed out.
They're a little stiff.
Yeah, they're a little stiff and need a good massage.
248-567-2755. And that's Gold Standard Massage Clinic. You can Google our website or give us a call. We're waiting for you.
So now, Charmaine, I have to ask you because there are nurses out there who you're a registered nurse. What gives you the motivation and the inspiration to not only be a registered nurse, which I'm sure passing the boards and doing all that stuff is a
Right.
challenge in and of itself, but also now you are looking to make sure that you're getting into entrepreneurship in addition to being a registered nurse. Now, how did you do all that? Where do you find the time in order to get all this stuff done?
I know. You know, I just have to plan. I make out a plan, and then I have to stick to it. I hold myself accountable. You know, I delegate what I can't do, hire people to help me out. I have mentors, consultants. Yes, it is rough because not only do I have Gold Standard Massage, I have Massage Pro on the go. And what that is an out-call massage business. So we come into the client's home. You don't even have to leave the comfort of your own home. We'll come there 7 days a week, up until 9 o'clock though, and we'll give you amazing massage in the comfort of your own home.
And you're
So-
licensed in all of these.
Yes.
Awesome.
Wow. So again, what's your number one more time? Because there's somebody out there that wants to get this information.
You can call 248-567-2755. That's Gold Standard Massage Clinic. Also, Massage Pro on the go. Same number, 248-567-2755.
There's someone who's looking at you right now, and they're saying, you know what? I don't have it in me to start my own business. I'm too busy. I have too much going on. I don't know what I'm supposed. I just don't know. Talk to that person right now because it seems you are the story of what Detroit could and should be, right?
Right.
From a young black woman out here doing it. You've gotten over all the obstacles. You've gotten really all the excuses. Talk to those individuals out there who also need to get over those obstacles, get over the excuses, and just start that business for Main Street.
Right. So the first thing you want to do your research on the market that you want to enter. You don't want to go into something where it's going to be so much of a struggle to get clients. You want to go into something that you're comfortable with and that you can have success with. So you do your market, do your research, find a market, find a target demographic. That's the most important thing because who are you creating this service for, or who are you creating this product for? You have to know that up front. And then once you have those, then start building your marketing. You know, if you need to get funding, if you need to get funds from a bank, or maybe you want to ask your family, loans, whatever you need to do. But definitely come up with some type of blueprint. It can be done. I am a walking example. I left my hospital job to become an entrepreneur. That was just 2 years ago. You're asking me about the DMC. I actually left there 2 years ago because I wanted to be a full-time entrepreneur. And it's been a lot of hard work, a lot of sleepless nights, but hey, I'm still here.
And one more
enjoying
time
what I'm
with that
doing.
website. What the website one more time and the telephone number because people want to call you.
GoldStandardMassageClinic.com. Google our website, GoldStandardMassageClinic.com, and you can call 248-567-2755.
And the Stay Woke tip of the day before we go is if you have a family member like Charmaine that is doing her thing and running her own business, and if you're the first in line on Black Friday, but you don't support your own family members' businesses, then you suck. So that's the Stay Woke tip of the day. So this is Ryan Mack with Main Street, and we'll be back with more tips on helping get jobs, create jobs, and manage money from the jobs. Thank you, Fifth Third Bank, for your support. Next time on Main Street.